Kia ora mai tātou. Welcome into your Silver Ferns World Cup squad announcement with myself, Courtney Tidy, Anna Stanley. We also have Storm Purvis standing by at Netball New Zealand headquarters, and a very exciting day.
It is. Finally, this day has come. It's been a team selection that I think has created so much robust discussion, and I think it was because there wasn't a Silver Fern trial, and so right from the ANZ Premiership, by halfway throughout the season, we were talking about who our 12 was going to be. Mine changed every week.
So did mine.
And I think it's because, you know, the pressure has been on players, and there's been players that have been performing right through the ANZ Premiership. And it's a really hard one to pick, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what that 12 will be.
So am I. I'm looking forward also. We're going to be hearing live from Dame Noeline Taurua. What can we expect from her today?
Well, I think Knowles has often talked about how when she selects teams in pinnacle events, she goes for experience. It's really important to have those players that have got the experience, they've got the test cap. So I think we'll see experienced players, we'll see players that know how to run a yo-yo. We know about Knowles, she loves fitness. Will we see any bolters? Maybe in the 3, maybe in the reserves, but I don't think in the 12.
Do you think it went down to the wire?
Yeah, and I think we've heard from Knowles quite a bit throughout the season. There were so many close matches in the ANZ Premiership, and I think that's really added to the headache of this selection, which is great for Knowles. Means that our players have been really being contested and have been getting that pressure week in, week out, and that's what we want leading up to a World Cup.
All right, let's not wait any longer. We're going to head over to Netball New Zealand. Chief Executive Jenny Wiley is standing by ready to announce the Silver Ferns World Cup squad.
Kia ora koutou. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to announce the 2023 Silver Ferns team to compete at the 2023 Netball World Cup in Cape Town, South Africa. Karen Berger, Gina Crampton, Amelia-Ann Ekanasio, Captain, Maddie Gordon, Kate Heffernan, Kelly Jury, Phoenix Karaka, Grace Newicki, Tapai Salby-Rickett, Whitney Souness, Jane Watson and Maya Wilson. In the travelling reserves are Sulu Fitzpatrick, Tiana Maturo and Mila Rilu Buchanan.
Well, there you have it, the Silver Ferns Netball World Cup squad, as we welcome in Dame Noeline Taurua. Dame Knowles, thank you so much for joining us. How's your morning been? When was it all decided?
Oh, look, it's a great morning. Great to get the selections over and done with and actually announced. Look, we went to the wire in regards to the 12 plus the 3 grand finals, but we're able to get it out. So I'm very happy that today's a day.
We're pretty happy too. Now, I'm sure there would have been some headaches to pick this team, Knowles. And if we just get straight into it, the big one for me, the midcourt, was probably the area where there were so many players putting their hand up. Peter Toiava has missed out on the 12 and the 3. What was it that went against her?
Yeah, look, I've been saying this for about the last 2 years, how we've got some awesome mid-quarters there, got massive firepower. Probably I don't want to say what's against her because she's a great player and has so much strength. If I look at the tournament, it's a tournament style. We play 8 games in 10 days. The loads that we're going to do over the next, 3 camps are going to be massive. So really looking for those players that can handle that workload. Second thing as well, it's very hard to take 2 specialists in that mid-court. Gina obviously is the specialist and her numbers speak for herself, plus also she has experience and part of the 2019 team that won. And the other players who are in that mid-court can slide. And once again, when you're looking at tournament style, you need those players that can play in numerous positions, hence the selections that we've gone for.
Noel, sticking with your mid-court, do you have a specialist wing defence? Because you have a lot that can slide there, but none of them have really played wing defence this season in the ANZ Premiership. Yeah,
look, that's been a bit of a headache as well. That was an area that we identified was at wing defence. In saying that, we've got Kate, who was in the Commonwealth Games for us. We've also got Karen, who we know is also our specialist wing defence, but can also slide to goal defence. We've played Phoenix as well in Jamaica, or against Jamaica. player, and also Maddie as well. So she has the ability, her versatility, whether it's going wing attack, centre, wing defence, offers us that player that can play wing defence. So we're pretty happy with the versatility, our ability to adapt. We feel we've still got the firepower within the 12.
When you look at the World Cup that you won back in Liverpool in 2019, you had the fossils, and you could argue that they were probably the X factor of that team. Where do you see the X factor in this current Silver Ferns team?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I see the X factor with the balance of experience, the youthful exuberance. I think every player that we have selected has their own point of difference, and I would like to think our strength is going to be the collective. You know, we do have leaders as such, but I also know that within this group, our ability to share the load, both on and off the court, is going to be a very important factor for us. So we're going to play. We can run. The fit, skill sets are great. We've been tracking these numbers for a wee while, so we feel we'll be competitive.
Speaking of your leaders, how is Jane Watson's injury? Because we saw her have to be rested throughout the ANZ Premiership. And will she be okay to play the day after day at the World Cup?
Yeah, she would be. We're very thankful once again that Tactics have been supportive in her program, but she has also done the work behind the scenes. She will be able to go back to back. Still a bit to manage up front, but we're very confident in what she can do.
You've picked for your reserves Mila, Tiana and Sulu. I mean, how hard was that? Did you think there was an opportunity to perhaps put a bit of a young player or a bolter in there, or were you happy?
Yeah, look, that was probably the hardest. Yeah. You know, like once you've got to wait for the 12 is probably the first thing, and there's always a rhyme and reason when you're looking at the 12. There's probably for each person there's a difference or there's a reason why. Mila, once again, with that mid-court, we're looking at the engine, our engine room, which is going to be our strength, which is our mid-court, to be able to handle the loads. Tiana, we're looking at, she's got a bit of a point of difference. Very strong. She's going to add fire in that shooting end. Still got to get her volume up, but we know that we can do that. And she is the next level coming underneath in regards to the depth. Sulu, everybody says about her leadership, so that's something that once again is valuable for us, but also know that we can slide her in easy because she's got the experience, so hence going with the 3.
Well, Dame Noeline Taurua, we thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you and the team all the very best.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, it's time now to head back out to Netball New Zealand to Storm Purvis, who is standing by with the captain of the Silver Ferns, Amelia Ignacio.
Thanks, Courtney. Yes, I'm joined by Amelia Ignacio. Congrats, Meals. Another named Silver Ferns squad as captain. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm feeling, really grateful, to be in the team. So really looking forward to, actually just can't wait to get stuck in and do the work. So can't wait.
How does it feel this time round compared to sort of, World Cup 2019 or when you've been named as captain in the past?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about World Cup last time, and I remember, just feeling so fresh into it, and feeling like a real newbie kind of into the squad and into the team. And it's crazy how it's 4 years ago. It does not feel that long for one, but yeah, it definitely feels like a really different. I feel like I've grown so much as a player and as a person, and obviously stepped into that leadership role as now well too. So yeah, it feels really big. It feels this one feels more special than the last one.
You've got great leaders across the squad. Still got Gina Crampton, Jane Watson in there. Talk to me about that leadership dynamic with the 3 of you.
Yeah, I'm actually really, I have huge respect for those 2 as leaders as well too. Not only those 2, we've actually got a really great sense of leadership across the group as well too. You can't get to this level without being a leader, I think, as well too, in one way or another. But looking forward to doing what we've got to do with those 2 as well. I think we've got a really nice little group, and we work well together.
Leading into the selection, I mean, no one could really pick their 12. It was so difficult for punters out there to pick. What does that say about the depth in New Zealand netball at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I mean, I was really excited to hear who the 12 was. I had my 12. We're all like, who's going to be in it? You get asked a question everywhere, and I think that that's a really good place to be in, is that, there's lots of people that could have made it and who really put their hands up as well too, and that's what we want. We want people fighting for these positions. We want to see what they do at their best. We want to see how they perform under pressure. That's really important, how well they can own their role and bring what they do to it as well. So it's exciting. I think the future of Netball New Zealand is really exciting.
And obviously 3 reserves named for a change as well. What kind of difference to the dynamic does that bring?
I think it's really cool. I mean, I think it's a really good rule that's been brought in, that we can travel with the reserves, but at any point, we know injuries are just, can happen as well too. So at any point, we're going to have to call on them. So I think, being able to name 3 really strong reserves has been important. And it will be really important for our prep as well too. I think, kind of keeps people on their toes as well too, knowing that those people are kind of just nipping at people's heels, just sitting on the outside. So it's exciting.
Congratulations again, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Stick with us on Netball Zone. Still to come after the break, we've got Grace Nweke and dynamic defenders Karen Berger and Phoenix Karaka.
No mai, hoki mai to your Silver Ferns World Cup squad announcement. Annie, we've heard from the coach, Dame Knowles, we've heard from the captain, so let's start to get into the thick of it and break this team down. We're going to start with the shooting in. Maya Wilson, Amelia Renekanacio as captain, Grayson Wickett, and then Tapaya Selby Rickett, who is the player I would like to highlight. I think Tapaya has really put her hand up this season for a spot in this squad. She's the second most accurate goal attack in the ANZ Premiership after Amelia Renekanacio. I think she really stood up at the Com Games last year when we didn't have Ekanasio. She provides that height, she's crafty with the ball, and I also think she has the ability to let the ball go. She's got 59 test caps, it's her second World Cup. She knows how to win one, Annie, but I also think if the Silver Ferns need to score quickly, Tapaya can be that player to do it.
Yeah, I like the fact that she can slide from goal attack to goal shoot quite easily. I like the fact that she's got that height at goal attack, and we see it in the tactics. She often becomes that second or third feeder. So she's got that little point of difference as well in at goal attack. She's got great vision. Some people throughout the season would have probably thought she had a few dips in the tactics, but I thought she came home strong in the ANZ Premiership, and that's when she probably cemented her position.
I agree with you, and I think she has really stood up in those international test matches when she's given the opportunity. Right, who's your player that you're highlighting?
Well, someone that always steps up, Maya Wilson for me in the goal shoot position. Of course, she will be the backup if anything happens to Grace Nweke in that goal shoot position. I thought she's had a really strong season with the Stars this year. She finished the most accurate shooter in the competition on 93%, second in terms of volume behind Grace. So, her ability to move in that circle, she's actually quite quick for a shooter. So we have seen her come out at goal attack at times. I don't know whether we'll see that in this World Cup, but I think she's a real strength in that shooting end for the Ferns.
And also she's got that great partnership with Crampton.
Yes, and with Mila Buchanan as well.
All right, let's also have a look at Grace Nweke, who will be the goal shooter for the Silver Ferns. She has been outstanding this season, off the back of a great season actually by the whole Mystics side, winning the ANZ Premiership. I mean, what more can you say? And she can do it all, Grace.
She is. I mean, incredibly, putting up 70 in that final. I said about it in the actual final that, we liken her to a very young Irene van Dijk. But the fact that she can just move so swiftly in that goal circle, she can pull balls in that look very average, so she can make some passes look very, very good. So, yeah, impressive and certainly deserves the spot.
And let's welcome Grace on into the couch. Well, Grace, welcome, congratulations. What was the phone call like when you found out that you'll be heading to your first World Cup?
Yeah, Noel's called me earlier in the morning and let me know and said, pack your bags, you're going to Cape Town. So, yeah, nice little one-liner. Really cool, really grateful for the opportunity and really excited to get to work.
Of course, this is your first World Cup, but you went to the Com Games last year. What are you expecting from your first World Cup?
I'm actually not sure what to expect. I think the Com Games is a completely, different vibe. Yeah. What we're playing as part of Team New Zealand, and there's, a different goal there. And I think now being defending champions, there's a lot more on the line for this team. So I'm excited to really figure out what that means and really get into it.
We mentioned earlier, Ekanaso, she wasn't there, so you get to play alongside her at the World Cup. How much leadership does she bring in? How much, do you ask her about her experiences about being in this side?
Yeah, it's really exciting to have a shooting unit that is full of experienced players. Between Meals and Teeps, I feel like they really have lived that whole World Cup experience and help the people who are, newer into that space. So, yeah, definitely leaning on those older players to support us and really carry us through.
you competed in the quad series and you got hammered at the back. Some of those goalkeepers, Grace, you know, your Courtney Bruce. We talk about her being the human backpack. Do you feel like coming into the World Cup that perhaps, you know, they got to see you a little bit in the quad series, and perhaps now that you are the hunted, do you have to have a few more tricks up your sleeve?
Yeah, I definitely think people know my game now, and it's not. It can definitely get rattled, and definitely people can get under my skin or get me emotional. So I feel like it's definitely the mental aspect of preparing for playing against a team like Aussie, playing against the Courtney Bruces and Sarah Clouds, like being ready for that physicality and embracing it. Yeah.
Now, you've got a great partnership with Peta Tuiava, who was not selected. Have you spoken to Peta, or what's it like to know that she won't be there because you guys have such a strong combination in the ANZ Premiership?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Peta yet. I'm really disappointed for her. You know, I think she couldn't have done anything more this season to put her hand up. So that's just the way that things go and what they're looking for this team. And I'm sure we'll see her in the black dress later on this year. And I'm really proud of what she's done this season for our team and for my game as well.
You're obviously coming off the final of the ANZ Premiership, a good win. Have you got your feet back firmly on the ground yet?
Yeah, my feet are pretty solid. Yeah, had a big couple of days.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is that why there's a bit of a husk to your voice, Grace?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm detecting?
Yeah, no, we've had a good time, and you know, it's worth celebrating Sulu's last season with us, and you know, another big win for our team. So really happy and ready to get to work.
On that note, Sulu's one of the three that's in the reserves. How good is it that, you know, your captain from the Mystics will be there with you in Cape Town?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. You know, she really deserves to be there. She has worked so hard this season, and she offers so much to the space on and off the court. It wouldn't feel the same without her there, so really excited for her.
You debuted for the Silver Ferns. Oh, we've got some overlay here of Sulu and what she brings. But you debuted for the Silver Ferns, Grace, and what have you learned from your experience out on court? And did you think, was this one of your goals? I'm going to that World Cup.
Yeah, I definitely quietly was always wanting to go to this one, and it's really exciting to be able to, I guess, fulfill that goal. I feel like I'm a completely different person to who I was when I debuted, and
against the Roses.
Yeah, I've had a lot of lessons and challenges in between. I think I'm better for it, and I think I'm much better player than I was in this game, and it's really exciting, I guess, to show that growth. And really, I think these next couple of weeks of building will really push all the players and will grow a lot more as well.
Well, over the last few years, we've seen, you know, footage there of you coming up against Jiva Mentor, the Courtney Bruces and Clouds. Who has been your toughest opposition so far, internationally?
I honestly would say it's Pumza Moeni from the Proteas. Yeah, I just think she's both physical, but she's agile, and she'll slide and she'll move. Either that or Shamira Sterling. Yeah, the Jamaicans, got to watch out for them. So, yeah, it'll be definitely tough competition. You don't get to play against defenders like that all the time. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, Grace, we thank you so much, and we wish you and the Silver Ferns all the very best at the World Cup.
Thank you.
All right, it's time now to head back out to Storm Purvis, who is standing by with Gina Crampton.
Yes, I've got Gina Crampton with me. And Gina, this is not your first rodeo, but I have to ask, how are the nerves for this selection compared to some others?
Yeah, I think much the same. I'm always super nervous, waiting for a call from Debs or Knowles. And yeah, when you see her name pop up on your phone, it's kind of like, you know, you have to answer, but you kind of don't want to, but you want to know. So yeah, super nervous, but super excited to get a good call.
So obviously you found out yesterday, the rest of the team found out this morning. Did you know the team by that stage, or have you only just walked in and found out now?
I've only just walked in and found out now. And yeah, it's super exciting to see the 12 and the 15 as well. So it's an exciting group.
It is an exciting group. I want to talk to you about the experience. I hate to bring this up, but you are going to be the most experienced player in this group. How does that feel?
I can't believe that, honestly. I think that's just ridiculous. Yeah, I think there's a few of us around sort of the same number of caps at the moment. So I think that'll be what we rely on a little bit, you know, those ones that have been to a World Cup before as well. So, yeah, much different to sort of past years, I guess, when we've had people that have been to 3 or 4 World Cups and have over 100 tests. So, yeah, it's an interesting one to be called that.
I guess that leads nicely into my next question, which is going to be about the difference for this World Cup compared to the lead-in for 2019. Can you believe that was 4 years ago?
No, I can't believe that. But yeah, I think it's way different. Just like the personnel different in terms of the actual team and the experience that we've got. But you know, all the people that have been named have had little tastes, and I think, if not big tastes, and I think that's really important. And yeah, I just hope that we can build our confidence and show the world what we're made of.
And just quickly, the Midcourt selection, that was going to be the most contentious leading into this announcement. What do you make of this sort of combined strength of the four of you?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of speed in there with Mads, Whit and Kate, and they can cover a lot of positions between the three of them as well. I'm sort of stuck in one. But I think, yeah, they've just been playing an amazing ANZ season. That's obviously what's got them in, and I'm really excited to see them showcase all their abilities at World Cup.
And Mila Buchanan, she's a reserve, your partner in crime. You must be proud of her.
So proud. I had a nice message with her this morning, and I think, you know, obviously she wanted to be in the team, like everyone does, but it's a massive achievement to be put in the reserves, and I think, yeah, she thoroughly deserves it.
Well, congratulations again, and all the best for the World Cup.
Thanks, Stormy.
Back to you guys in studio.
Oh, well, a very exciting day, Annie. I mean, Gina Crampton, surely she was in your 12.
Yeah, she was in my 12, and I think she would have been in Knowles' 12 very early on. I think she's the constant, as you heard from her. She's the specialist wing attack. We wouldn't want her to go down, even though you do have a lot of speed, as she said, you've got options with Gordon and Souness going in at wing attack. But I think for me, Crampton had a slow ANZ Premiership to start with, but I think by the halfway mark, she really turned a corner, and her last few games for the Stars were really impressive, and her stats reflect that.
All right, let's have a look at the mid-courts that Dame Noeline Taurua has selected for the World Cup. Gina Crampton, Maddie Gordon, Kate Heffernan and Whitney Souness, who is the player that I would like to highlight. I think she had a great ANZ Premiership. She is first for centre pass receives, fourth for feeds. However, she was playing in the wing attack position. In my opinion, she will be wearing centre in the black dress. I think she is tested and proven against Australia, another player who has really stood up at the Commonwealth Games in all her opportunities for the Silver Ferns. She's got 30 caps. But for me, I really do think, even though she is a great wing attack, great option to have as wing attack, I do think we might see her in centre.
Yeah, I think we will. I think Kate Heffernan will be the starting centre, but I think Souness, you know, we saw her in the Quad Series play centre. I think what Knowles has done is she's picked a very versatile mid-court, quite defensive heavy, perhaps. And that's why I think maybe people are a little bit surprised that Petta's not there, because if something happens to Gina, you know, you've got Mila in the reserves, who has played the majority of the season at centre. But as you heard from Gina, they've got speed, that whole mid-court, they're fit, they're fast, and we know how much Knowles likes to pick players that can take that load and take that pressure day in, day out at a World Cup.
All right, who is your mid-courter that you'd like to highlight, Annie?
Well, Maddie Gordon for me. I'm actually pretty happy that she got in. I thought she's had a pretty outstanding year for the Pulse, and it's good to see that, you know, the two Pulse middies got in together. You know, is that variation, that versatility in her game. She can play anywhere from wing attack through to wing defence. I think she's a better centre. What you know with Maddie is that she just comes out and goes for ball. She's very fit, she hunts. And I think, you know, she certainly deserves her chance in the team. First World Cup for her, so she will be hugely excited.
I agree, and she can play across all three mid-court positions. Another player who can play in the mid-court is Karaka. I mean, for the tactics, we really do see her in the goal defence position, but we have seen her in the black dress play wing defence. It's something that she can do very well, as you said, defensive heavy in the Silver Ferns. So Dame Knowles is looking to gain and turn over ball. And we have a look at the stats there, Annie.
Well, she's had an outstanding season for me, one of the standout players in the ANZ Premiership. Her stats are strong week in, week out. I think she's come back fitter than ever. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing what she can provide out in the Ferns team.
Well, let's ask her now, why don't we, as she joins us in studio. Carden, thank you so much. Congratulations. How excited are you not to only be going to another World Cup, but in South Africa?
Yeah, I think there's been quite a lot of chat about the fact that it's in South Africa, and I got a little bit of a taste of that, what that's going to be like in January. So to be able to say it's happening now and what my plans look like for the next couple of months, and being able to tell my family I'm coming and making plans is pretty awesome.
You've had your fair share of adversity. You've had your injury a couple of years ago, which ruled you out of the Com Games. Does that make these moments bittersweet?
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody last night, actually. We talked about how it feels like ages ago. Sorry. Ages ago, and but also just the other day. So I think I've actually enjoyed it. As much as you don't want an injury to happen, it's happened at the right time for me to refresh and recuperate and mentally be in a good place, physically be in a great place, to be able to put my hand up for World Cup, and it's, come to show. So.
Now, you spoke about it just a tiny bit before, but what will it mean for you to get to play in front of your family and back home in South Africa?
Yeah, pretty awesome, really. I'm actually really excited to see the outfits again. They really surprised me with that at the quad series. So I know the support group will be a lot bigger this time around as well. So not having a voice, or the family's voice in the crowd that I was used to growing up, it's something I had to get used to, and so having a taster of that in January, I'm really looking forward to be able to play at a pinnacle event, having those voices in the crowd.
Now, you were in Liverpool in 2019, but you weren't on the court in the finals. So do you feel that now, heading into this World Cup, that perhaps you've taken a step up and you're one of the senior players?
Yeah, I think that's the difference for this World Cup for me. The last one I came in as a rookie and just trying to build that experience and be able to learn from the higher-ups like the Katrina Rores and the Casey Kopuas, and, being able to play in a team with Laura Langman and Maria. It was amazing to learn heaps, and so over the last 4 years, even though it feels like just the other day we had the World Cup, to be able to say that I can now put my hand up, and hopefully it's so different being on court to being in the team. It's a massive privilege to be in the team regardless, but I guess that next step is to try and put your hand up to be on court.
Now, we did see you in the wing defence position at the last World Cup. So are you a defender in midcourt, or are you just happy that you can swing both ways?
To be honest, whatever keeps me on court, I'll be happy to do that. I quite enjoy both positions for different reasons, and probably where I will give my best and do the best for my teams, that's where I want to be. So whatever that looks like, I'm happy.
And, when you look at when you had that injury, you had that time off, you came back and you're probably the fittest and, you look amazing. Did you really work really hard on your fitness?
Yeah, I think for the 6 months that I was away, you don't really want to change much in the way you do things when you are doing well. So over the last few years, I've just been happy to just go as per. And so in the last 6 months, I had an opportunity to look at every aspect of my life and things that I wanted to change and be better in, and spend more time on that, and see whether it was going to work and experiment with a few things. And clearly it's worked for me, so I can now keep doing those things. So that's why I mentioned the injury's actually been a good thing for me.
Now, we've spoken about experience at a World Cup. How important are combinations, especially with the likes of you and Jane Watson knowing each other so well?
Yeah, it's very much a feeling thing. I think we had our awards night with the tactics last night and had the same question about that connection with Jane and how it comes about. It's very much a feeling thing, and I think netball in itself is very much a feeling game too. So if you have that invisible thread and that connection with the people around you, it really shows on court, and how important connections are on court. So, and whatever it looks like for us coming up against different teams, I know the combinations will be different depending on people's strengths. So to be able to build those connections with different people are really important.
Well, Carden, we thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the very best at the World Cup.
Thank you.
See you there.
All right, don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more coming up after the break, and we'll be hearing live from Phoenix Karaka in the studio. No mai hoki mai to the Silver Ferns World Cup squad announcement. Well, we've broken down the shooters in the mid-courts already, Annie, so we're going to get to defence. We spoke about it earlier, but it is quite a defence-heavy team, which is great because we are going to need to win ball at the World Cup. We've got Carden Berger, Kelly Jury, Phoenix Karaka and Jane Watson.
Well, that's what they say. To win major championships, you've got to win ball. So I think it's a pretty safe four. I think they've all had really outstanding seasons. And it's hard to believe that Berger and Watson weren't at the last Commonwealth Games. So you just think how much experience just having those two back in a pinnacle event will bring to this World Cup team.
All right, well, one of the players that was there was Kelly Jury, and she is my highlighted player. She's first for defensive rebounds and deflections in the ANZ Premiership this season, second for intercepts. She's also first for penalties, but what that tells me is that she's in the game, she's in there, she's hustling the shooters, she's going after ball. I think she's really grown her game, especially on the international scene, and she'll really provide that height and that reach over the shot that we'll need.
Yeah, and I think we really saw a shift in Kelly Jury's game probably 2 years ago. And she just turned her whole game around. I think we saw her using her feet a lot more, coming around for ball. And, you know, she came away with the MVP last season in the ANZ Premiership and has had another pretty good season. So I think she adds that height, which is what we need because we're going to come up against some big goal shooters.
Well, yeah, and she's got quite a bit of experience, 46 caps under her belt now. All right, which is the player that you want to highlight, Annie?
So for the defence end, well, God, you can't go past Karen Berger, can you? And we've just heard from her. She, for me, has been, you know, one of the most outstanding defenders in this competition. She gets ball, she contributes on attack. You know, she's fit, she's fast. And I think, you know, she'll have a real spring in her step playing in her home country, South Africa. She wasn't at the Com Games. This is her first Pinnacle event for a long time.
And now she said she doesn't mind where she plays, but where would you prefer to see her?
Well, I think we could see her at wing defence because, you know, Phoenix Karaka also has had a pretty good season with the Mystics. So, you know, if Knowles wants to put Fee out at goal defence, then she just slides Carden back at wing defence. Look, there's just so many options. I don't know what Knowles will do. But the good thing is we've got players that are very versatile and can slide across.
Yeah, well, another one of those players is Phoenix Karaka. So let's highlight her and have a look. What an outstanding season she's had for the Mystics in the ANZ Premiership. She can play, you're right, Annie, in actually all three of the defensive combinations. I think we even saw her at shooter once upon a time, but let's hope that she doesn't have to go into the shooting position. But what a great experienced player to have, Annie.
Yeah, absolutely. And she may have a little bit of a sore throat as she sits with us on the couch now. Phoenix Karaka just coming off a grand final win with the Mystics. As we look at those numbers there, pretty impressive Fee. But how are you feeling?
I actually feel way better than I sound, which is really disappointing. But yeah, obviously, like Grace said, had to celebrate Sulu's retirement and winning a championship or premiership. So yeah. That's why I sound like that.
Hey, we love it. You should all be celebrating. Speaking of Sulu, what does it mean to have her still selected in the squad and part of the travelling three?
Oh, it's, I think everyone has spoken about Sulu very highly, and she brings this wealth of knowledge, but also she's almost like the brains to every team that she's part of, but she is also the heart to the team. And just being able to have her there, whether she gets involved, well, to be able to play at the World Cup would be amazing, but just having her there is going to be huge for the team as a whole environment side, yeah.
Now, you're one of a couple of mums in the team that's got a baby. Will Palmer be coming over with you, or are you just leaving her behind?
I was like, later, Bolt. I'm not bringing you at all, but I think it's more so that I can just focus on the job.
You'll miss her, though. It's a long time.
Oh, yeah. But Com Games, I did Com Games, and that was hard, but I know I've done it before. Yeah. So, yeah. Should be easy.
Speaking of doing it before, you did go on the Northern Tour with Palmer after coming back after having her. So what was that like, and what have you learnt since having her and becoming a mum? How has that added to your game?
I really enjoyed actually travelling with her and having my mum. I think for me it was a test to see how I could do both. And having the opportunity to do that on tour was just huge. So I think that set me up for the season ahead. Being last year, and I think it's in some aspects really reined me in terms of my organisation, and I know what it is when I'm down. I know what I need to do now, and I think that's purely because having Palmer, I've got to be organised. Yeah.
Yeah. The build up to Cape Town is so massive. You know, Knowles talks about the camp in Australia, then you come back and you've got a camp, and then you have a rest in another camp. How much of that mental game is so important in preparation to Cape Town?
Yeah, it's huge. I think we learned going into the Com Games how important it was to be as a team, and I think this World Cup, there's a few of us that have been to a World Cup, but obviously there's a lot that haven't as well. So being able to give the other players that confidence mentally, but strategically as well, I think knowing that there is that balance is awesome. But yeah, really just excited to get out there.
Now, at the last World Cup, you had the fossils. Are you one of the fossils now, Fee, after heading to your third World Cup?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm still 20 in the team. Like, I'm still one of the young ones. But when you say that this is what my third World Cup is quite scary. But I think like what Karen was saying, not being able to play in the final and probably having the opportunity to have that this year is one of the things I'm really looking forward to, and being able to get that opportunity would be amazing. But whether I don't, I'll just be happy with, being there and being part of the team.
Well, I still think you're one of the experienced ones in the team. So you've had Knowles for a while. Do you still feel like you're learning from Knowles, and is she, still imparting so much wisdom?
Oh, all the time. I guess, when you go to training with her, you're just like, what's next? What are we going to get today? And I think that's the great thing about having Knowles as the coach, is you just never know what's going to be around the corner. And some trainings you finish and you're like, oh my gosh, what do we have for us the next training on the second training in the day? But no, she always surprises us. And I think the fact that she just thinks about things differently is the key to the success of the team.
Well, Phoenix, we thank you so much. Congratulations, and we wish you and the team all the very best at the World Cup.
Thank you.
All right, it's time now to head back out to Netball New Zealand. Storm Purvis is standing by with Maddie Gordon.
Yes, I've got Maddie Gordon with me. A bit of a bolter, Maddie. Talk me through how that phone call went with Dame Knowles.
Yeah, so we were heading up to Otaki from Wellington for our purapuraki with Te Wānanga Orokawa, and I just happened to stop on the side of the road and get a coffee, and I was in the cafe and I just saw her name pop up on my phone, and I was like, okay, if I'm getting the call today, that must mean something. But yeah, no, it was crazy. I was super excited.
Who was the first person you told?
It was my boyfriend, actually, Luke, and then my dad and my mum.
Yeah, and how proud were they?
Yeah, no, they were stoked. There were a bit of tears in their eyes, so yeah.
You've been in the black dress before. This isn't your first time, but first time at a pinnacle event. How special is that?
Yeah, no, it's so special, obviously. Last year was quite a tough year for me, missing out on Com Games, but yeah, I think it kind of gave me a reason to really work hard this year.
Do you remember, or what do you remember from the 2019 World Cup? Where were you watching it?
Yeah, I think I was just at home with my friends. But yeah, no, I think just remembering how that went, it's super cool to think that I can be there and hopefully we can do it again.
Have you had any feedback on where you're likely to play? Because there's been a lot of chat about the wing defence position. You've played wing defence, but obviously played centre all season.
Yes, no chat about that, but I'm assuming centre as I've played it all season. But yeah, I don't know yet.
You'd be happy to slide into wing D if you needed to?
Yeah, 100%. Anywhere you need me, I'll be there.
Your partner in crime, Whitney Sooners, also in the side. Have you had a chance to chat with her?
No, I haven't. So I just got here and found out the whole team. But I'm so excited for her. I think she's worked so hard as well. So I'm, stoked to be working with her again.
And what do you think about the 12 as a whole? Great leaders, and Amelia and Gina and Jane as well.
Yeah, I think it's such a great team, obviously, with all the leaders and experience in there. I think it's going to be a really good time.
What are some of the main goals for you, individual goals?
Yeah, I think just going over there and playing some consistent netball, nothing too flashy. But yeah, I just kind of want to prove why I was selected, and yeah, just go out there and have fun as well.
We're so excited for you, Maddie, and hope you really enjoy the experience.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Back to you, Courtney.
All right, Annie, I need to know, was Maddie Gordon in your team that you selected?
She was in my midcourt, yep. I picked Maddie. I think she's had a very consistent season with the Pulse, and I think what she offers, is the fact that she can play all three positions, which is invaluable. She's fit, and, in the midcourt you need those players that can take that load each day at a World Cup. And her ability to give ball in the circle is great. I think she's very much a defensive midi, and that's why I think we've talked about the fact that it is a very defensive team. But you've got Gina and Whitney in there that can have got that ability to perhaps have more of an attacking flair.
All right, we've broken down the team, but let's have a look at the additional 3 players who will be travelling. Mila Borelli-Buchanan, Tiana Maturo and Sulu Fitzpatrick, who will add absolute value to this travelling side, especially in the build-up, Annie.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Knowles that she found, picking that 3 quite difficult. But when you look at it, I think it's a very well-balanced 3. Mila, she's the engine room, as you heard from Knowles. She can play a multitude of positions. She can, she'll be able to be putting the pressure on the Ferns leading up to it when they're at trainings. Sulu Fitzpatrick, her leadership is invaluable. And Tiana Maturo, for me, her volume wasn't good, but interesting that you heard from Knowles. She said when she's with us, we'll get her volume up. So that's a sign of a confident coach, bringing a player into her environment and thinking that she can get the better out of her.
All right, let's have a look at the World Cup pool. The Silver Ferns are in Pool D. They've got Uganda, Trinidad and Tobago and Singapore, and they will cross over to Pool C after the pool stages in stage 2. So they will likely to play South Africa and Jamaica. Oh, Annie, it's exciting. We thank you so much to everyone who joined us, and congratulations to the Silver Ferns. We wish them the very best at the World Cup.
So after 9 days of netball, it all comes down to this.